Well, it's been 24 hours. Actually, it's been 48 because we had a rainstorm, but it is ready to unmold. And I want to say some things that I really kind of forgot to talk about yesterday. Absolute cleanliness is, well, it's not next to godliness, it's next to mold making. And I didn't wear gloves yesterday. I suggest that you guys do. There we go. Yes, there's a trash can behind me. And so it's just, let me get this one little corner off. Anyway, I didn't wear gloves. I normally won't wear gloves with the mold making material. In fact, I don't do it with anything usually, unless I'm into a really big pour. All right, I'm going to loosen it from the bottom of the mold. I start touching it. Can you see what I'm doing? And there, it's loose all the way around, I think. Yeah, there, that's the last side. There's the original, and there is the finished part. Now, I've got a little bit of flashing where it's right along this edge that went down between the paper and the and stopped the glued section. No big deal. It just you don't need that when you're casting. A little bit on the other side as well. Sorry to keep pulling things out of the camera frame, but it's hard to remember. There, we're ready. And always take anything that you want to keep away from the resin, because if it gets on it, it's going to wear it forever. Now I have a extra mold over here because you cannot mix the resin in really small amounts. This would be much too small to mix to fill it exactly, because it's 1-to-1. So much of A to the same amount of B. But it's very hard to get it so it's accurate at tiny amounts. So you have to do a little bit more. So I've got a spillover mold to use the rest of the material I'm going to put in there. So always want to have your measuring cups on a reasonably flat, not tippy surface. And this is A, I believe. This is where you do not want to get confused. I've done it before, and you probably will too eventually if you work with this material. There. It's right up to the line. Set it over. Do B. I always have a paper towel somewhere handy, just in case I get some on me. More important probably for you guys is to wear safety glasses when you're doing this, because if you splash some in your eye, you're going to have to go to the emergency room. Okay, here's A and B, and you just pour them together. It's like magic. It's exothermic. All that means is when it starts curing, it gives off an enormous amount of heat. I'm going to stir in a figure 8. Try not to make any air bubbles in this. That's something you do not want. And I have a hard time seeing, because you can see it sort of like when you've put in corn syrup and you try to get water into it, you can see it in strings inside the mixture until it's completely combined. Now you've got a little bit of time, so there's no real big deal about this. I'm working on top of wax paper. It'll catch the spillover. I've got a marble slab underneath this. There, you overfill it. Yes, you're going to waste materials. Now this is where the extra goes. And I've got a piece of glass. There's baker's parchment on the back side of it. And what you do is you lower it very carefully at an angle, slowly. Slowly. There. You won't get any air bubbles that way. Usually, not always. And I'm going to put a weight on it. That's it. That's all there is to mold making. We waited about 15 minutes. It's cooled down the shop this morning. Put my weight back. And it's number one. It's these are still very soft. You can bend them all to hell, and so that is a trick, by the way, you might think about. You figure it out before on your own. I'm not going to tell you that one. Now I backed it with a piece of glass with parchment paper on it. Comes off. You can use that over and over about 5 times, and you have to put on a new piece of paper. Or you can use vegetable spray out of your kitchen cabinet. Just have to be prepared then to clean the back side of your casting. And use very carefully, just sort of stretch, pop it out, sit on something flat. Peel all the residual off of your mold for next time. There will be a next time, I know that. Anyway, that is a casting. I'm going to try to bring it over to the camera a little bit closer so you can actually see what I got. The material is accurate enough to transfer a fingerprint, so you have to be careful the way you handle the mold and the material. But that's it, and I hope you've learned something. It's not rocket science. There are all kinds of tutorials about the correct way to cast on the internet. Most of them are on YouTube, but also there are videos on sites. One, for instance, Smooth On has enormous amount of videos. I don't particularly like the materials, but they're great for the home hobbyist, and it doesn't break the bank in the kit form that they sell it. That's it. Need any more information, you can write me privately. All of you know who I am.